And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with game 2 here between Glacial Academy and HypE Esports in the silver division here. Glacial Academy winning their game 1 in a grueling, long, 40-plus minute game 1 here. It wasn't the bloodbath that you might have thought it was. Instead, it was just very drawn-out grind here between the two teams. And for game 2 here, we actually have Glacial Academy on the red side here, and it's going to be HypE Esports on the blue side. We also have a roster change here for HypE Esports. They're going to switch out their ADC, switching Epic Gamer in here on his other account, Ray Just Out 3ND. Did not pronounce that one. I'm just going to call him Epic, or actually no, I'll just call him Ray here. So Ray coming in on the ADC position, replacing Ramilux for now. And now let's see what they've changed up here in the picks and bans. HypE Esports continuing the Diana, Set, Fizz, Jinx, and Caitlyn bans. So they continue to focus out Ronin in the mid lane for their first set of bans here. And then we do see on the side of Glacial, they're going to continue with the Teemo ban against Rinks. They're going to follow up with the Maokai this time. That tells me that they don't want Dobby. They want to put Dobby 007 on something else instead. Either that or they're not sure that HypE will just first pick that Maokai here. The Zac as well, the Ezreal and Vayne. So despite Ramilux struggling with the Vayne here, they're going to ban it out because this time it's Ray coming in, Epic Gamer, and he had a much better game of it last week on that Vayne. He did carry the early game, but he also was the reason why they lost last week on HypE Esports, because he got caught out with that Vayne multiple times towards the end of the game here. So Glacial just banning that one out. They don't want the risk of having that carry. Now in terms of picks here for the side of HypE Esports, we see a Sejuani. That's not a Quinn, that's actually a Gangplank here from HypE Esports. So that is a Sejuani, Gangplank, Xerath, Leona, Ashe here. And for Glacial Academy, they're going once again with the Ornn, Amumu, Ari, Jhin, and Swain. So Glacial not feel like they need to change much up. They did win game 1, and they're just going to change that bot lane because the Jinx was banned out. We see the Jhin Swain combination instead. And for HypE Esports, they've switched up things quite a bit here. Their top lane going for a carry laner here, and I can appreciate that because the unfortunately the Poppy didn't have quite enough damage, and when we saw Ramilux getting burst down on the Vayne there, they just could not carry the fight. So GP will give them a bit more damage, will be able to do things a bit more in the end game there. And once again, for Tommy Peppers, I mean, why not stick with the Xerath? It pumped out the most damage last game, so definitely didn't seem to be an issue. I do like the adjustment. The Leona Ashe bot lane, though, one of the most scary bot lanes here at level 6, one of the strongest engages and burst. And for the side of Glacial Academy, I just have to be concerned about picking a Jhin and Swain. Swain is pseudo tanky, but a lot of that does rely on the sort of the healing there from his Demon Flare. And against an Ignite, which we're likely to see come out for the Leona, that tankiness is not really going to be there. He's going to be quite squishy, and a heavy engage at level 6 could see either Dobby or Mazir, or possibly both, end up dead before they can really do anything. And now the teams have loaded here on to Summoner's Rift. We'll have to see if Ray can perform better than Ramilux here in game 2. And in terms of composition too, again, Glacial Academy's composition very similar to their game 1. They've got really strong engage in the mid to late game, but we saw from game 1 that they struggled to really use that, capitalize on their engage advantage. So we'll have to see if they do manage to do that. They have a bit more damage with Dobby on the Swain versus the Maokai, but slightly less engage or peel here for Mazir lane. And for the side of Glacial Academy, again, I think they just need to focus on poking out a bit. They've got the GP, they've got the barrels, they've got Xerath with the range poke. They can afford to take their time with the engages. But when they do wish to engage, they have so many tools to do so. They've got the Sejuani Glacial Prison, they've got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, they've got the Solar Flare, and they're going to be just as strong in these team fights as Glacial Academy is. So the question is just if Ray can make sure he can survive. Is on the Ashe, does have a bit more range, but a little less mobility. So we'll have to see how that one goes for now. And this time we aren't going to see both junglers start in that bot side here. They're both going to be starting their respective blues. And there was some deep wards here from Glacial Academy. So they will be able to track non-stop Brain where he's going. While I do understand tracking the jungler is important, I'm actually not sure the benefit of necessarily doing so for the side of Glacial Academy right now. Non-stop Brain not generally an early ganker on the Sejuani. So tracking him early is less important unless you're looking to invade him or punish him here. And so far, Pyria on the Amumu, not really the champion to look for that early punish. We did see, it looked like Fluff gets smashed and Ray. We're looking for a little bit of cheese here. Unfortunately, did not manage to find any in the bush. And usually Leonas don't start the Zenith Blade level 1, so he's going to struggle to engage. We are going to have to wait for level 2 to really see any action here in that bot side. And we do see 2 being hit right now, and instantly Mazir and Dobby backing out wisely here. And so far, Dobby is doing a really good job applying damage and poke onto Fluff Gets Smashed, and that is going to be how the bot lane of Glacial Academy have to look for a win. It's just to apply poke, because they're not going to win a straight up engage against a Leona Ashe here. Now in that, looking potentially for a gank in the mid lane here. Can they find it? Bandage toss gonna come out. A good flash from Tommy Peppers to keep him alive for now, but that is his flash down on a very immobile mid laner here. We could see a repeat gank to try and finish him off. He will not have flash available this time. And Ronan going with the cleanse this game, actually. We saw this matchup, Xerath versus Ahri here. And last game it was Ronan taking the ignite. This time he's going to take the cleanse instead. So I think is learning a lesson. Mazir lane as well, once again with that cleanse on the Jhin here. Now we do see Non-Stop Brain sneaking into this bot side, looking for a gank, and it's going to be Fluff getting smashed, getting rooted up here. He does look for the engage. Zenith Blade comes across. The Ignite's coming out. It's going to be first blood. The 4th shot from Mazir doing work. And Ray chasing after will be able to turn around and get something at least. But that's a double kill for Mazir. And where was Non-Stop Brain in all of that? He was just chilling behind in the alcove there. I'm sure HypE Esports bot lane not going to be happy with that fight there, because it should have been a 3-on-2. Instead it became a 2-on-2. They engaged, they lost out, and they're actually going to be now down as Mazir lane able to find himself a double kill in that bot lane. Will be very, very nice for him in terms of both experience and gold as well. And Ray dying that early means he's going to come back to lane with a Vampiric Scepter, not the BF sword that he was hoping to come back with. We'll give him a bit of sustain at least though in lane, though not quite as much all-in potential here. And that's kind of the second time this series that we see Non-Stop Brain not be on the same page as the rest of his team here. When they engaged, he wasn't quite in position, and that's going to be rough for him, and I wonder if we're going to continue seeing this here from Non-Stop Brain, because that will be an issue. They already lost game 1. They are down right now in the series, and if Glacial Academy win this one, they win the series. Another beautiful root. Dobby on point with those roots for now. And now Ray just kiting around. He's doing really, really well, but the stun, the flash comes out. The cleanse going to keep Mazir alive. He's living on a prayer here. Down to 3 health on that exchange. Chugging his pots, and Dobby able to turn around and find Ray there with a burst that electrocute coming real handy in the bot lane. And suddenly, that's going to be the bot lane of HypE Esports down 3 deaths right now. Now we do see Ronan punishing in the mid lane. Tommy Peppers having to burn his barrier. No flash available for him just yet. And again, it's just a repeat of what we saw last game as well. Ronan, if he can land a stun, he can put down a bunch of damage here. And instead, top lane, Rinks able to find CS leads once again here on the Gangplank. It just seems like he's able to lane better than King Tyrus here, but no real kill potential against that Ornn just yet. And we do see Pyria aggressively invading. He's kind of pushing out Non-Stop Brain here. He's got himself a level lead in the jungle. as well as quite a few camps up, surprisingly, and he's going to have to flash away to safety. Instead of collapsing in, though, Ring's going to back out here because he's afraid of King Tyrus coming in as well. Instead, we're now seeing a whole bunch of pings coming down into the bot lane there. Looks like they're maybe pinging out a warning because they are a level down right now, or a bit mixed here. The Ray is a level down from Mazir, but Dobby's a level down from Fluff Gets Smashed here, so just being a little careful. Ray does get tagged by that Vision of the Empire, does dodge out the root for now, so he'll be just fine in terms of that. And it's going to be interesting to see what's more important, the ADC hitting 6 first or the supports hitting 6 first here in this bot lane. We do see Pyria in the wings here. The bandage toss is going to land. There's no flash available and the burst comes down. That's going to be a real quick kill here. Cannon Barrage coming down to try and dissuade the engage. But it won't matter because Ray was just so far behind, so squishy there, that he just got instantly bursted by everybody coming in. No ignite required from Dobby there. In the top lane, King Tyrus trading back. Call of the Forged God being used right now. Will not find rings, and it's going to be Pyria able to pick up this Drake here. That's an early Inferno Drake going the way of Glacial Academy. And Glacial Academy right now just riding the momentum from game 1. Find themselves a 1,500 gold lead as well as the first Drake here. And looking like they're in control in that bot lane. That being said, we did see Glacial Academy struggling to close out the game when they were in the lead in game 1. So by no means is HypE out. It's only 8.5 minutes into the game right now. And they have solid skilling here with the Gangplank, with the Ashe as well. And this time, Glacial Academy actually won't have that skilling they had in game 1 here. Because Mazir lane had the Jinx last game with the Jhin this time. Yes, he's got a lot of bursts, but he won't scale quite as well into the late game here as the Jinx did, as the Ashe will as well. So for the side of HypE Esports, they just need to hold on and let their carries start carrying them. And it looks like we are setting up to have another slow game here. Quite uncharacteristic of the Coalition League, where usually we have games just shy of a kill a minute here. And that's not so much because the players are bad or anything. They're just playing a very different measured style instead right now. Looking to try and confirm their strengths before going in. Pyria, though, has to be careful. Fancy feet dancing around. He's dodged all of them. That was it. He survives with just over 100 health for now. But does have to be careful. You can't poke your head around at a Xerath like that when you're so low on health. Ray now potentially getting caught out, but he is the one to pull the trigger with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Solar Flare catching too, but Ray might go down here. The Ignite is ticking. They do manage to pick Mazir up, Mazir lane up instead. Dobby failing the flash. That's going to be him going down. That's a double kill now for a HypE Esports bot lane. Really well played from them, and that's almost all the summoners blown into that bot lane. Only Mazir with his flash, and Fluff Gets Smashed with his flash available for now. And that is the Fatal Ashe Leona bot lane we're talking about. With those outs combined, it looked like Ray was getting caught out a little bit, separated from his support, but with that much CC, a point blank Enchanted Crystal Arrow to the face buys enough time for them to get in position and turn the tides there. And that's going to be nice for him. And that's going to be the Blade of the Ruin King now completed here for Ray in that bot lane. Going to be very nice for him to be able to trade 1v1 with here. Granted, Mazir and Dobby, neither of them are stacking health, so not necessarily the most efficient targets, but everybody else on the side of Glacial Academy, or not say everybody, the top side with King Tyrus and Pyria, both of them will be stacking health, so will be effective for them to take it. And we did see Pyria and King Tyrus there managed to pick themselves up the first Herald of the game. They're going to give that one over to King Tyrus here. Non-stop Brain getting found once again by Pyria here. Called the Forge God coming through, but they missed the guess, and now it's Non-stop Brain looking to get away. A beautiful charm to interrupt the Blast Cone there. Apparently it overrides the Blast Cone, and that's going to be Ronin able to find himself a kill onto Non-stop Brain. Nonstop Brain having a bit of a rough time thus far this game. He is down about 20 CS, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 11.5 minutes into the game, and that's jungle camps here. Now we do see the Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out to Mazir. It's going to force the flash out. The solo player will not be able to connect, but that's fine because they can just burst Dobby instead, and that's now Dobby going down. The bot lane for HypE Esports coming online, and now Glacial Academy, where it looks so good for them in the bot lane, is now looking like they're struggling to survive. It looks like the cannon barrage might have come down as well in that bot side. Didn't quite see it, but it does give an assist over to Rinks up in that top lane there, as if the CS lead he had was insufficient. He's now getting some assists here. And we take a quick look at the gold differences. It's only 200 gold, so it's very, very even. But that's only in the team golds. If we look at the individual gold values here, not so even. In the top lane, there's a 600 gold lead for Rinks. In the mid lane, 500 for Ronin here. In the jungle, it's a 700 gold lead for Period. And in that bot lane, we see another 600 gold lead for the ADCs. Supports even. Ray potentially getting caught out here. Mazir chasing in. Will be able to get the shutdown, and it was because Fluff gets smashed. Was just warding. Was just trying to clear out wards, and ends up letting Ray get isolated here. So despite the fact that Glacial Academy's bot lane has lost the last two fights, they are certainly not out for the fight just yet. The Drake is up right now. We do see the top lane turret going down. First brick going to Glacial Academy with that Herald here. And we did see them having the better rotations, having better control of these objectives here. And it might continue to do so. We saw the teleport coming out from Rinks because they're setting up for this Drake, but that's going to let Shelly get a second charge off. The inner turret now taking a bunch of damage, and King Tyru's now facing the 1v1 from Ray. Ray chasing down for now, and the fight now breaking up at the Dragon Pit. It's a 4v4. Dobby already low. No Demon Flare available means he's going to get burst down. Period. Focusing that Drake, but maybe he should have focused on the fight instead, because Ring's going to be able to pick that and the Drake up, and that's going to be Mazir lane going down to Rings. A double kill here for Rings. Mazir did manage to pick up Nonstop Brain in the midst of that in top side. It's going to be King Tyrus finding the solo kill onto Ray here, surprisingly. So action across the map, a 2-for-2 in terms of kills, but it is going to be the Cloud Drake going the way of HypE Esports, and that's going to be massive for them here. They are a team that is built a lot around their ultimates. You've got the initiates here from Nonstop Brain, from Ray, from Fluff gets smashed, and the Cannon Barrage on a short cooldown for Rinks is going to be huge, because he's going to be able to impact fights all around the map here, while he can just continue to farm things up. Now does have the Trinity Force built as well, so will be able to farm his minions that much more effectively here. Able to one-shot with the barrels the caster minions. And we do have a bit of break while the teams reset here. And it is going to be everybody going back to the base to buy items, so we can take a quick look. But hold on a second, because Period getting caught out here. He does use the Curse of the Sand Mummy, but there's no damage from him despite the blasting one. And it's going to be him getting shredded down by Ray. Ray finding a second kill onto Ronin there. That's going to be the Ashe starting to come online. Ray had a very, very rough early game, but he's bouncing back right now. We take a quick look at the gold. He was down about a bit of gold initially, but now he's up some gold here. But Mazir also able to farm back up. We did see about a 500-600 gold difference the last time we checked in that bot lane, and it's actually shrunk down a little bit right now to about 400-500 gold instead. And that's not good news for Glacial Academy. Things were looking so good for them in the initial phase, but now HypE is fighting back, and they've actually managed to get themselves a gold lead here, a team-wide gold lead. They've got better skillers as well, so Glacial Academy on the clock. They need to start looking for these mid-game fights here with their ultimates. Make sure they don't get caught out in the jungle one by one like Period was just caught out, because that means his ult will not be available for the next little while. About 150-second cooldown there. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes across, is going to miss onto Mazir lane, and that means Mazir will be able to live for now. Does have the cleanse available though, so could potentially have just cleansed his way out of that. The flash as well going to be coming up from Mazir lane shortly. for the side of Glacial Academy. They have to be careful. They look for the engage. They get the stun, and can they get the kill? No, they can't. Ash somehow still alive in the midst of all that curtain call coming out. Instantly getting stopped by a stun. Top side of fight broke up as well. Perrier and King Tyrus looking for the 2v2 against Rings and Non-Stop Brave, but they lost that one. Perrier already did. Now Ronin coming in will be able to take Rings down. Maybe no, he takes an orange and he's okay against the charm. And Tommy Peppers coming in as well. And despite all that action, only one person, two people going down there. It's going to be the Perrier and Dobby there. And somehow Ray survived that fight in that bot lane. A beautiful save from Fluff gets smashed, just instantly nullifying the curtain call there. And that's going to be the first turret for HypE Esports here. They finally managed to even up the turret score. And they're starting to pull a little bit ahead in the gold lead. About 2,000 gold here potentially we're looking at. But still struggling a little bit. Both teams, it's very, very even. Nobody really with a huge lead. And we're still not seeing the huge team fights that both teams look like they'd be so good at here. And we did see Glacial Academy controlling the macro last game. They were the ones to out-rotate HypE Esports here, but looking like they're struggling a little bit this time against the semi-global, against the globals really. They are full globals from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Cannon Barrage here. Rings able to clear waves, making it hard to push against that GP here, as well as anytime it looks like you've got the numbers advantage, you have to remember that it's not exactly true because of the Cannon Barrage and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. If you get hit by those, it can mess up your fight here. Now the Ocean Drake could be once more the sole Drake for this map here in game 2, and it is going to be spawning shortly here. Glacial Academy has a ton of vision. Look at the amount of pink wards they have up, the control wards here. And when you look over instead to the side of HypE Esports, they're now going to have to walk into the fog of war. Have to be careful. There's a lot of bushes here because it is the ocean map. And they're going to start this one up, it looks like. Vision being cleared up. Is Glacial going to be able to contest this? They kind of have to, but they're not in position. Mazira lane is still in the mid lane, and that's going to be the Ocean Drake already down. Instead, it's going to be Dobby getting caught out once again here on the Swain. He gets caught, he gets bursted, and he's now 1-6-3 here. And this does seem to be a recurring issue for Dobby. In game 1, we did see him getting caught out repeatedly as well, but he was on a Maokai at that point, so a tank getting caught out was not that big a deal. This game on the Swain though, he's not a true tank. He's a drain tank, which means he needs champions in range of him to drain. When he gets caught from so far away by that long-range solar flare, by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, by the Cannon Barrage, there's no one there for him to heal off of, and so he just gets bursted down immediately, getting shredded there. And they're also going to rotate immediately to the Herald as well, so HypE Esports finding themselves the Ocean Drake and the Herald, and this should mean turrets as well. Tyrus and Rings facing off in the bot lane, but Rings now 4-0-3 here. He's managing to pick himself up quite a nice bit of change. The Sunfire Cape from King Tyrus though, negating a lot of the damage from the Gangplank early here. Does have the Catalyst as well, so has quite a bit of sustain in lane. So we can see that he's laning quite okay against Rings for now. Does now have the Abyssal Mask completed as well, so has a bit more damage as well. Despite the gold advantage for Rings, it's actually going to be King Tyrus with the item advantage, and all the gold in the world doesn't matter if you don't spend it here. Herald going to be dropped into the mid lane. They are struggling to take it down, so they're just going to force it with Shelly here, and this will be a guaranteed turret. We do see Perrier potentially getting caught out once again, getting shredded down by Ray. Tommy Peppers with the arcane, right of the arcane there, does manage to try and get Dobby once again as well. Now Ronin running for the hills, but can you run away from an Ashe? Yes, you can if you've got Spirit Rush. There's no more long range CC, but that's Ronin without the Spirit Rush, being forced behind his turret. Mazir as well only got hit I think by one shot of the right of the arcane, but it chunked him down to about 60% health. The charm gonna land onto Tommy Peppers, but he's not afraid to use that barrier, and basically no damage coming through for him. And that's gonna be another turret here. HypE Esports suddenly cracking things wide open here with another 2 turret takes for themselves. And while we did see Glacial struggling to close out a game with a lead, it looks like HypE Esports knows how to push their advantages. Instead, they saw an inch, they took the foot, and the mid lane right now is going to be highly pressured for Glacial Academy. They're going to be the ones to look to get out, but they have to make sure they don't get caught. Pyria once more getting caught on the jungle. That's the fourth time actually, if you consider that the early kill he gave over there. That he's been caught out in the jungle on his own without his team to back him up, and he's kind of building that more AP heavy Mumu here. He's got the Cinder Hulk built, and it looks like he's rushing a Leandries here for himself. So anytime he does get caught out, he's just going to get burst down immediately. He's not really that tanky. Same with Dobby. He's now 1-7-3, and now Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out from about a screen and a half away here, but a good cleanse from Ronin means that there will be absolutely no follow-up. He gets the control ward and he gets out to safety for now. Ping's coming down onto the Baron right here. Ray does have the Blade of the Ruined King, so they do have some sustained shred on the Baron. Won't be the fastest take, but it will still be a pretty safe and quick take here. Snare coming out of Dobby, not going to be able to find Ray, and Ray looking to try and get himself the red buff. Will be able to find it. Solar Flare comes across, doesn't get the stun, but they do manage to tag this though onto Dobby here, and Dobby aggressively going in. Period. That's a beautiful 3-man Curse of the Sand Mummy. The 5v5 comes across. Curse of the Call of the Forge God finding both Ray and Fluff get smashed right now, but somehow from beyond the grave, Ray picking Perrier up. But this is the engage that Glacial Academy needs. They found 3 in this massive fight here. And that is how Glacial Academy are going to come back into this game with fights in the choke point here. Well played from them, and they're looking to try and chase Tommy Peppers down, but it's kind of hard. He gets pulled in and the damage is solid. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Mazir Lane with that pop burst there, with the Storm Razors as well as that BF Sword, able to pick himself up another kill. And now he's 6-2-2. Not quite as fed as Ray on that 8-6. But still able to put out a lot of damage here. And they're going to be able to crack that outer turret in that mid lane. Have to be careful though. They're a little low. We did see the Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming up, but no one in range quite to follow just yet. And with that, Glacial Academy are going to be happy to rotate their way towards that Ocean Drake. King Tyrus though, no teleport, will not be able to join the rest of his team. Will have to take the long way there. And 4 members of HypE Esports are up here in the area here. And that snare kind of giving vision away here is going to force Ronin to cancel his back, delay things a little bit. Now Period waiting in this bush. Well played from him. He got scared out though, has shown himself now. Can he go in? Can he look for the steal? No, he can't. Instead, his bandage toss is going to put him right into the middle of 4, and he's going to go down paying for his attempt at the steal. He's now 0-6-6, and suddenly HypE Esports at soul point. And they might have a shot at Baron here with Perrier, the smite for his team, dead and down. HypE Esports not afraid to turn and burn there. They don't care if there's vision or not, because they know they've got a numbers advantage and they want to try and shred this one down with the Blade of the Ruined King. It's definitely doable here. It's already down to about 6,000 health. Perrier will be just respawning now, but can he get there in time? Maybe he can. His team is trying to zone off. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out. Dobby did once again immediately here. Curtain call coming out. Can they find non-stop brain? Yes, they can. Now that's both junglers did. It's a risky one. Solar Flare comes across, doesn't find anybody. Instead, King Tyrus now tanking up the Baron, is taking a lot of damage here. Ray able to free farm from the background. Rings going down to Mazir, but that is both Ronin and King Tyrus dead here. Curse of the Sand Mummy gonna find Ray, but Mazir already dead, and the kiting here from Ray is solid. They do manage to pick Perrier up, and in the midst of that, it was Perrier picking up with the smite the Baron there. So they lose 5. It's going to be an ace, but they trade 5 for 2. And more importantly, they secure and slow down the pace of the game by securing that Baron here. And Non-Stop Brain, again, getting caught out in that pit. I mean, you saw them all coming. You knew your low curtain call was out. Why did he continue tanking that one? He should have just left the pit. And because he went down, that does gift a free Baron over to Glacial Academy there. at least on the back end of that, HypE does manage to pick up the last outer turret. So despite losing the Baron buff, they do still manage to get themselves a turret to boot as well as an ace. And nobody on Glacial Academy is going to be wearing that Baron into the next fight here. So they really don't lose out much besides an opportunity to expand the lead. Just a very, very messy Baron fight there. Not something we see a lot of actually nowadays. Teams usually know better than to sort of start that up. They either back out completely or they go for the Baron. So we're used to seeing Baron steals, not so much I don't know what you call that when the jungler walks in and there's really no competition whatsoever. A Baron gift perhaps. And now King Tyroos in that bot lane. The last time Ray and King Tyroos met was in the top side jungle, and it was Ray getting the short end of the stick. But this time Ray brought a friend. Fluff Gets Smashed is here as well. And they're going to bring even more people. Non-stop Brain and Rings here as well. And Ray's still having to use his flash to survive this one. So bit of a rough one for now. But it is ultimately King Tyroos going down a 1-for-0 as they catch King Tyroos out here in the bot lane. And for the side of Glacial Academy, they are on the back foot. They need to look for ways to come back into the game. And they're only going to be able to do it by having massive team fights in choke points. We can see that that they won the last time that happened. They won the Dragon fight, the Baron fight as well. I'll count it as a win since they did get the Baron. But the problem is they're not doing that. You keep seeing Pyria getting caught out, Dobby getting caught out, and now King Tyroos getting caught out. And these are the AoE ultimate carriers who you need to be able to have together to layer their ultimates. And if they're dead, they can't layer it. And now it looks a bit like a base race here as we do see Ronin and Pyria on this bot side. Right of the Arcane coming out, will not be able to get it. Instead, bot lane, somehow Mazir lane finds a kill onto Ray now. Did not see what happened. Bot side though, it is going to be Tommy Peppers finding and sniping down Ronin here. He is going to lose the inner turret, but he does manage to get himself a kill, and it's going to be HypE losing out this trade here. They do not get the inner turret, and they lost one as well. Despite being in the lead, HypE Esports not really in that big commanding lead here. The barest of margins, only about 100 gold here. They have to be careful that Ray doesn't get caught out. He's 10, 7, and 8. Very reminiscent of his week 5 games here when he did play the Vayne as well as the... I can't quite recall who was the other ranged champion he played. Was it the Kill here? But yeah, I mean, he did the same thing where he got a lot of kills, but he ended up giving up a lot of deaths. And considering his position in the team right now, he cannot afford to be caught out. He is the damage. We've seen what happens when your ADC is dead at the beginning of fights or before the fight even starts. Rami Luck struggled with the Vayne last game as well. So despite being on a longer ranged ADC, he still has to be careful with positioning. And now we do see a beautiful barrel chain onto Mazir lane. That's a shutdown now. Ronin returning the favor as he finds Ray. That's both the ADCs dead already. And this one's a huge one. It is going to be Non-Stop Brains collecting the soul for his team. That's going to be absolutely massive. Pyria unable to connect onto this one here. And it is going to be a 2-for-1. But more importantly, Dragon Soul, Ocean Soul going over the way of HypE Esports for now. And now it's going to be HypE Esports a bit on the back foot here. They've lost themselves the last 2 short skirmishes. And we'll have to see if they can bounce back from this one, because Glacial Academy in this back and forth game at 30 minutes have finally reclaimed the goal lead here. It's been quite a long time since they've had the edge, but that lead is basically non-existent in a 50k gold game here. 500 gold is literally 1% or less right now. Baron will be spawning in a minute, and given the focus of both of these teams on objectives here, I'd be surprised if we don't see that being the next objective. And unfortunately, Crystal Arrow gonna find Dobby once again. Dobby is dead. They are trading that kill for an outer turn in that bot lane, but they do have to be careful. Ronin and King Tyroos are needed back at home because HypE Esports is going to push in looking for this inhibitor turret, and once they crack this, it's going to be massive. We do see Glacial Prison coming out onto Mazir lane. The cleanse is going to buy him some time, but can he do anything? He's deep under turret, Riggs with a flash and a shot to the head. The parlay converts the kill, and that is going to be Mazir lane down. It's now a 5v3. The Ornhorn sounds, but there's no follow-up here. They get the knockup, but what's the point if no one else is there to follow up? And that's going to be the inhibitor in the mid lane down. They're going to turn and burn for that Baron here, which just spawned. And for the side of Glacial Academy, they've got to go for the Hail Mary. Send maybe Period alone to contest this one, because they're not going to win a fight here. And they've got to be careful of the supers pushing up the mid lane. HypE Esports starting this one up now. They're shredding it really quickly here for the side of Glacial Academy. They now have vision. They can see how fast it's going down. Is Period going to be in position? He's coming in. He's going to throw the bandit shots, but he gets stopped midway. Enchanted Crystal Arrow to the face with the soul of the Ray going to go down early in that fight, but he did his job. He stopped the steal. That's Baron going to HypE Esports, and they did manage to pick Period up as well, who did go in late. Now Ronin getting hit by the Red of the Arcane. Can he dodge out? The flash is out. The Spirit Rush is no longer available, and it's going to be Tommy Peppers picking that one up. He's 6-1-9 this game. And it doesn't matter that Ray is dead, because they have Tommy Peppers to pick up the slack. This time they make sure they secure themselves the Baron. They can look to potentially end the game here for now. The only problem is they don't have Ray, and Ray is their ranged ADC damage here for now. He will be up at the same time as Period, but the distance is a lot shorter. What on earth is that? Dobby goes golden. Showing off a little bit, perhaps. Not quite sure. Or it looked like, oh, it's right before the upgrade. That was why he did it. With the upgrade to the Zhonya's Paradox there, the cooldown does get reset. So will still be available for the next fight. Cheeky move from Dobby there. Now we do see everybody back up. It's on HypE to look to close out this one. No major objective for the next 2.5 minutes, and that will be Elder Baron, not up for just under 5 minutes. They just picked it up. They still have the buff, and they're looking to pressure this bot lane here. It looks like both teams are grouping up as 5. The supers are pushing in the mid lane and should be able to match the push off that bot lane as well. But Fluff gets smashed, getting caught by Period. He's going to get burst down. Period though, the revenge kill coming across. Coral of the Forge God comes across, doesn't quite find anybody. But Zero Lane going down in that 1v1, and Ray soon to follow. But Rinks is still alive. Can he pump out the sustained damage in lieu of the dead ADC? Looks like he can. The barrels find King Tyrus here, and that's going to be a 2-for-3 trade right now. And we now do see Ronin trying to dodge out the Right of the Arcane. Yes, he does manage to do it this time without the Spirit Rush, without the flash, but that buys time for Rinks and Nonstop Rain to just take this inner turret here. And they are going to be pushing on in. They've got the burned up minions, and it's just Dobby and Ronin here. They are the AP mages. They don't have the ability to take down burned up minions. Dobby going golden really early here. Probably could have held it a little bit, because now he's available to be killed, but will be able to get out, life stealing away from the minions for now. And with the backing out of Nonstop Rain, Tommy and Fluff get smashed, the minions will now be vulnerable to magic damage here. And on that Baron push, they do manage to crack the inhibitor turret of the bot lane. They did not manage to get the inhibitor though, and they'll have to reset once again. And ladies and gents, we're in for another long one, it looks like. And both teams look to have been struggling to close out their games in this series here. Another Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out, and it maintains its hit percentage as Dobby flashes off the way, but it's going to be King Tyrus standing there and taking it like a man, because he knows he's safe there, and it doesn't really do much damage to the tanks at this point in time. We do see HypE Esports now setting up for the objectives. That seems to be how both these teams are playing out this series here. Very objective focus, and it is going to be Elder here. And now Dobby getting caught out. No flash available this time. Will get absolutely melted there, and it will be another 4v5 to start this game. To start this the Elder take, pardon me, out. And with the damage coming out, it's already shredded down. This should be an easy take for HypE Esports. It's gone now. King Tyrus has to be careful. Horn being sounded here. Fluff gets smashed, diving the backline. He'll get melted there. Does not have the damage, does not have the tankiness either. But they do manage to find King Tyrus in the midst of that period, desperately hunting for a kill, but can he find one? No, he can't. The execute comes across. There's a double kill for Tommy Peppers as he did manage to catch Ronin with that right of the arcane. The fancy feet not working out well. And it's now a 4-for-1 trade, a 4 pushing against 1 as well. And with the Elder Drake, Mazir has to be careful. He gets tagged by pretty much anything at all. The execute could come down. It's going to be the Chata Crystal Arrow coming across. The cleanse in time. He's going to be okay. Dobby respawning now. Is only level 13, so the death timer not too long. And they're going to shred this one down here. This should be game for HypE Esports. Are they going to try and pad their kills? Dobby goes golden under the fountain again. He's got damage coming out, but it won't be enough here. Ray almost going down. Mazir punishing here. Can he find a kill? No, he can't. That's a double kill for Tommy Peppers. Padding his stats, and he's now 10-1-13. Rinks ending 10-1-16. And Ray ending 14-10-16 here. As HypE Esports fires back and brings us to a Game 3 in this best of 3 here. And really, another long game. 37 minutes here. Team struggling to close this one out. Ray going 14-10-16. That shows you he's getting constantly caught out. And when the ADC is dead, you can see that teams are hesitant to push. Even when they have the advantage, and even when they could actually look to close games out, they're just not, comfortable doing so. And that's why we're starting to see all these super long games for these teams. And I'm liking this sort of team composition coming out from HypE Esports, giving Rinks a bit of a carry on his own. We've only really seen him play Teemo and Maokai, and now that he's forced onto other champions, it is showing that he does have other champions available here. And for the side of Glacial Esports, honestly, they just looked a little bit lost here, looking like they weren't sure what they wanted to do in the series there, as constantly Dobby 007 getting caught out, Pyria getting caught out, and they never could quite get their CC layered together here. And that's an issue they need to pick up. It's not an issue of draft, it's an issue of execution. And with that, we'll have to see what they decide to do in Game 3, as now both teams are on the cusp of winning this series. Winner takes all here in Game 3. We are going to head into an intermission while we set up for said tiebreaker here. And so stick around and we'll see all of you guys in a couple minutes.